That was very good.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
You get a
Yeah.
Just a quick update.
Good, Mr. Mayor. Thanks, Will. Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Tuesday, May 27th, 2025 council meeting. And we'll start with disclosure of pecuniary interest. Staff and committee reports. Councillor Foot.
I had EMS last week, so it was a really good meeting. Talked a lot around what's going on with the paramedics and the Brooks Falls base, which is kind of wild. One big main point is their current contract is due up December 31st of 2025. So they will be renegotiating in the new year. And then it'll be probably, we'll see where it goes from there. What they did say is the days of 2 to 3% increases are gone. So we need to be prepared as municipalities to expect a higher increase coming from that part, which is fine. One thing they did tell us is their higher WSIB claims are all driven by mental health claims. Their mental health claims have greatly increased. So they really are looking hard at that and making sure to find ways to keep the paramedics healthy, make sure their benefits match what they really do need. So that's part of it. And I think it's a great idea. Statistics wise, their night calls are up to 37 in the evening from 15. So they've more than doubled. But what they're saying is a lot of those calls are coming because they're sending a ambulance from the closest base. So they're really taking a look and getting it from the closest base. So yes, they've doubled or more than doubled, but it's not because there's bigger problems. They're just more strategic where they're sending them from, which is perfect. But no big changes in staff. So other than that, there's nothing really to worry about. Brooks Falls base. So they received 7 bids for the base. They ranged from $585,000 to $1.189 million. The initial cap for the space is $500,000. And a big part of that is just the increase in everything going on, right? So they had a long conversation about that. They're going to go back to Brooks Falls because at the end of the day, we're looking for Brooks Falls to help get the loans and everything they need to take care of it. So they're going back to council, Brooks Falls Council, to see if they will increase that cap to $700,000. We don't have a choice. One of the questions come up is, can we hold? We can't. The base can't hold. So there's more discussion and we'll know more hopefully by the next meeting. They're also asking, we're also looking for paramedicine support really to AMO and to their other governments. We're looking for support from all of the different municipalities to say we need support. They were hoping with the federal budget, they were supposed to see permanent funding coming, and I don't know if that came at this end of the day. But it is going up to AMO. So just looking for our support. And let's be honest, it's a wonderful program. It's probably the best program we're running at this point. The nice part about it, the next meeting is going to be in person. So it'll be the first in-person meeting for since we came on board. And once we get through Brooks Falls, next on the radar is South River. So it's not going to end, but not a lot going on. But and a big part of it was closed session, just discussing everything we can't talk about. But it was a good meeting, and it'd be nice to see everybody in person for a change. And they were saying, feel like you lose part of it by not being in person. So it'd be kind of interesting. Yeah, so yeah, good. Questions? No?
Questions?
Awesome.
Thank you, Councillor Foot. Councillor Chalapenko.
Nothing from me this week, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Scott.
We went, 3 of us went to Parry Sound District meeting. There was a presentation for roads management service, and they give us a few different ways to help maintain your roads. And he kind of gave us a formula, I don't remember it 100%, but there's a point where that's the happy point. If you go too early, it's wasting money. If you go too late, the later you go, the more and more it costs to rehabilitate a road. And he was basically saying in rough forms that 75 mils every 3 years for gravel road. And if you do that, that's probably gonna be your cheapest route to maintain your gravel roads. I believe were you able to download the?
The presentation?
Yeah.
They
Just
think
received them
they
yesterday.
were being sent out.
Yeah, so the staff will look at it and come up with their own thing, and that's probably the main point that I got out of it all that day.
Good, thank you, Councillor Scott. Councillor Turkey.
Alrighty, I have library and I'll do my recap of the municipal association meeting too. I'll do it first. So, Mark Wilson, spoke on behalf of Roma, and, Danny Whalen, went through the Go North videos. So we've had over 1 million views on the Go North videos. Over 1 million views. OPP, the last billing cycle increase, they are doing a full review, should be out before the next billing cycle. So, guys open for that. Kristen Frank, MTO Highway 69 project. The last 68 kilometers, they're working on the land acquisition is still being negotiated for that. Then they, as James talked about, was the,
Management service roads.
yes, Ontario asset management. Also, there was something else here that. Jamie Board did a thing on bees
Yes.
and the contaminants that are killing off the bees, bee population, domestic, we call them domestic bees, which is the European honeybee, is down about 80% right now. And you'll notice that, you know, when you're out in your yard and you see all the dandelions that used to be covered in bees, not just honeybees, but all sorts. I'm not sure, like I checked my lawn before I cut it, couldn't find any, anyway, just because I listened to her do this. Also, Perry Sound District has put together, it's called the Mattoon Search and Rescue for the Perry Sound District. This is a search and rescue. They work for forest rescue, high angle rescue, and stuff like this through the OPP. So the OPP will activate them. So any rural community any community in Perry Sound District, if you need them, the OPP, you just let the OPP know and they will activate them. And then Graydon Smith did a thing on municipalities for skilled labor. And so they're skilled labor coming into our communities, trying to fast track the immigration for skilled labor going into rural communities. So he did a thing on that. That's all I have for that. Oh, yeah, some municipalities want to move away from conservation authorities and do licensing in-house. The decision from the province will be coming down in 6 to 9 weeks from now. I think that was North Bay Mattawa Conservation Authority had a chat with me right after that. So I know who the new CEO is up there. It's Carolyn Rogers. So that's all I have for that. And we had a library board meeting. So one of the partner communities asked for a patron allegiance list of patrons who actually live in their community. Oh, wasn't that? No, it wasn't Chisholm. Anyway. So we had a lively discussion on the list and because of the way libraries are run in Ontario, it was a pointless discussion that we had, but it was lively. Because one, you can't give the names of the patrons. But they gave the addresses of patrons. They wanted to make sure they were in their township, not our patrons. Still, I know all my alarms are going off too. So anyway, that's that. And then we, because of the recording of the minutes aren't, in my opinion, weren't up, and our collective opinion of the board wasn't up. So they were gonna work on a different format for capturing the results of the meeting better. Audit day, possibly June 23rd. Our auditor will be giving her annual report. Discussed fundraising, and somebody had mentioned, because we do a pool day, or a couple of pool days, one day a week during the summer, I think, of taking the kids to the pool, and somebody had suggested selling ice cream at the pool. And the stuff that you have to do, the hoops that you have to jump through with the health department and all that, it's not a good fit. So we kind of said no. Talking about urban air tickets, urban air in Sudbury, and possibly Science North tickets. You can buy them through the library. You can buy them through libraries, participating libraries at a discount. Saying, well, why? Because you take people away from the community, but it's something they can get at the library, so that's a possibility. They're gonna do a dishcloths over tea. Apparently there's a bunch of ladies who, what do you call it, nagging?
They knit the dishcloth.
Yes, they knit the dishcloths. They've done it before, and it was quite popular. So they're gonna try and do it again, and they're calling it dishcloths over tea. The reptile guy is going to be there July 2nd. And in future, they're looking for partner requests from 250 Clark. We keep trying it, but it's never worked yet, but we're gonna keep working on it. Grants, 2 positions, Canada Summer Jobs. We've got 2 students hired. Life jackets for the kids that are taking swimming. Thank you, Mark Giesler. We're looking for a grant to purchase life jackets. And somebody mentioned to Mark, like, what size life jackets should we get? They just wanted his input. And he said, well, what are you doing? Well, this is what we're doing. And he said, don't worry, I got it. I'll donate the life jackets.
Very nice.
That's awesome.
Yes, than ever.
Well, see, the thing is Gieslers were on the initial Lions Club push to build that pool. So it makes sense, and it's kudos to Mark for doing that. You know. Maple syrup outcome, we made a $205 profit on the maple syrup and coffee that we sold. Thank you, Lori and Dan Costello, for donating the syrup. Fundraising, the jewelry exchange, they made $510. So that worked out well. And insurance is up $24 a month. Fun. So we will be open on Saturdays all summer. Knew you'd like that. Crochet club starts, learn the chain stitch is coming up on the 14th. The 25th, oh, sorry, the 19th is the Nipissing Museum Game Board Night.
On the first.
On the Thursday, yes. 10 a.m. is genealogy, and 5 p.m. is board game night. It's also Raising Readers Night. And on the 25th, 4 to 6, Team VR and Wii Games Night. Pizza and prizes. It's their schools out night. And and on the 27th, it's called the Knit and Natter fundraiser, knitting dishcloths to support the library. They will be closed on July the 1st. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Councillor Kirky. Yes.
So we did receive a letter, an email from the library today regarding the life jacket program. They're asking for a letter of support to go with the grant because Mark's donating the children's life jackets, but they're still doing the adult. So they've asked for a letter of support from the township for May 30th. Like the deadline is May 30th and today is the 27th and it didn't make the agenda. So I was going to go ahead and write the support letter and I'll just bring that to the next agenda for.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention that I was gonna write a letter.
The adult jackets.
Good, thanks, Councillor Kirky. I have two things with the Pines meeting, but at the Perry Sound Municipal Board meeting, and James had talked about roads, and it was a great presentation. At the end of it, all the questions in the room, and there was a lot. And we're so far ahead of most municipalities with what we do. It was almost stunning to hear people ask, well, what about this and that? And we're thinking, it's what we do. So makes you feel good for everybody that's a great thing. So. Pines meeting, I don't have a lot. Canalex is starting 2 weeks early. So they started yesterday, which is phenomenal on the project for the decks and privacy walls and walkways. So that's a real good start. The audit will be done in June and we will have more information. A big thing that we've been discussing is snow removals from patios. We're not funded for that. So people that live there are gonna have to pay for their own. So anyway, that'll be ongoing. I'll let you know how that goes. And we received our financial transaction and income statements. Everything is operating good. So that's all I have. Any questions? So I need a mover. Good. Seconder. That the minutes of the regular council meeting held May 13th, 2025 be adopted and published. All in favor? Those step on things. Mover. Bingo. That we donate $100 to Near North Crime Stoppers. All in favor? Mover and a second. Counselor Foot. That we donate $100 to Almaguan Highlands Secondary School in support of the Graduation Awards Program. All in favor? Over. Counselor Cho. That we accept the resignation of Cassie Mulder from the Township of Nipissing Recreation Committee. All in favor? Mover and a seconder. That we award tender NIP PW-2-2025 for delivery of stockpile of winter sand 4,000 tons to Miller Paving at a cost of $103,479.75, including taxes. All in favor? Being over. Second. Counselor Turkey. Counselor Scott. We award tender NIP BW-3-2025 for delivery of stockpile of 7/8 crushed quarry granite, 1,500 tons of crushed quarry B granite, 1,500 tons to Evan Hughes Excavating.
Then there's the cost.
Okay, yeah. 7/8 quarry granite, 1,500 tons, $28,730.25, including applicable taxes. Crushed quarry B granite, 1,500 tons, $28,730.25, including applicable taxes. All in favor? Any mover? Seconder. Sorry, Counselor Foot. That we award tender NIP-PW-4-2025 for reseal of 4.7 kilometers, Lakeview Drive, Lillian Drive, Muskeg Road, Marion Drive, and Hunters Bay Road to Duncor Enterprises Incorporated. Total tender price $147,885.13, including applicable taxes. All in favor? Need a mover and a seconder. that we award tender NIP-PW-9-2025 for supply crushed and applied approximately 12,000 tons of 7/8 crushed quarry granite to Black Creek Road North, South Lambs Road, Ponderosa Road, Butterfield Road, Lincoln Felders Road, Sprucedale Road, Granite Hill Road, and Rye Road to civic address number 650 Old Nipissing Road North, south to PD Brooks Haulage and construction. Total tender price $263,335.20, including applicable taxes. All in favor? Mover and a seconder. Scott. That we reissue tender NIP-PW-10-2025 for the replacement of Stone Cutters Road Pipe Barge Culvert to Broaden Bidder Interest. All in favor?
Stone cutters?
Yes.
Yep.
Gary? The mover and the seconder. That we authorize the submission of a grant application to the Health and Safety Water Stream, HSWS, for the replacement of the Bear Creek Culvert and the South River Road Culvert Project. All in favor? The mover, and the seconder. Whereas the imminent failure of the South River Culvert has been identified after the passing of the 2025 budget. Now therefore, the Council of the Township of Nipissing authorizes the acceptance of a quotation from Armtech for the supply of the pipe required for the replacement, expansion, and installation of an overflow pipe to repair the current issues and address future needs of the asset. Total amount of quotation number 6882-25B, $80,922.90. Applicable freight and taxes not included. The amount required to repair this culvert be taken from the capital reserve account, acknowledging that this amount was not included in the approved 2025 budget. All in favor?
We are hopeful for that grant. We did apply for that,
Yeah, you did.
in that grant.
Yeah, I saw you
Yeah.
did draw on the grant.
Hopeful.
Yeah,
So,
Are we taking losses from something else? With that cost, are we taking losses from something else or we're good?
yeah. And it's well done, that grant.
Thank
So,
you.
yes.
so now we have the staff report. The studies required for the preparation of the Hummel Bridge replacement project. So that's for after.
Oh, yeah,
So we got Dan McInnes and I prepared a staff report after meeting with the engineer from HP Engineering they do our bridge studies, and he is the gentleman that has been speaking to us on the Hummel Bridge up to this point. And they had submitted a budget breakdown. That is what we took to the minister for the funding request, and that's what we used for the next steps of the studies that would put us in a shovel-ready position, and the municipality of Boston has asked us to prepare this. So we had a meeting with Tashi, and he helped us to prioritize the studies and to ensure that they would have a shelf life of longer than 5 years. Just, we don't want to be doing studies and then wasting the money. So he did give us those priorities there in the staff report. And the only ones that he said to hold off on until we're actually in the project is the species at risk can be done quickly beforehand to make sure that nothing changes with the changing of the environmental protection and things like that. And then the next one would be the detailed design component, which comes once we approve the project, and the soil characterization report can happen during the process, during the project. So he said to wait on that one. So we have the first three priorities are cultural heritage evaluation report and a heritage impact study, archaeological studies, stage 1 and stage 2, if required. He wasn't sure if we would need a stage 2. Schedule B environmental assessment and a legal topographical survey, which will be, those will be good for the entire time. We'll be waiting. Hopefully we'll hear something. We have not heard anything on the funding application. We didn't expect to hear nothing, but we have not had any updates. So staff recommendation is that we go ahead and start working on those 3 priorities this year, and then we'll be in the ready to move. If there's any other funding options there. And the funding application that we just did for the 2 culverts did not apply to the Hummel Bridge because that is for health and safety for water.
Are these estimates, are these total costs estimates for the studies, or are these shared costs with
Sure.
shared, so 7,500 each?
Mhm.
Or,
No, that's the total cost.
okay, that's the total cost, and we share that total cost with.
And the way that we have been doing it when we did the geotechnical and things like that is we pay the bill and then we bill Boston and they pay us back. So we just put them all in for ours and then we get half back, but that is the total price.
Okay,
And Tashi did say that he thought those estimates were rather generous.
Yeah.
So we're anticipating that the whole budget will come in under, and it's only.
yeah, well, better to be looking at worst case scenario than,
Right,
you
and
know.
he doesn't think the environmental study will be too big of an issue because we won't be working in the water. We're gonna set, when you do go ahead, we're gonna set the abutments back further away from the water. So there should be no real environmental impact.
Well, they'll be putting like copper plates in there to,
My understanding, the way that it's just abutments that get excavated into the roads, and then the bridge is attached to those abutments.
Mhm.
So we'll be going back a little further than what,
oh, I see, okay,
so we won't be, should be no in-water work.
Yeah.
From what kind of the preliminary designs we've been talking about.
yeah, because you got lots of height there.
Yes,
Both
lots of
sides of
height.
that bridge.
Yeah.
okay.
So we did prepare a resolution for council.
Mover and a seconder, Councilor Kirky. Scott. That we received the staff report submitted by the operations superintendent and the municipal administrator regarding the studies required to prepare for the Hummel Bridge replacement project. And that we authorize the procurement of priority 1, 2, and 3 studies within the report to future prepare for the Hummel Bridge replacement once appropriate funding is secured. And that this resolution be forwarded to the municipality of Boston for their authorization to begin this work and agreement to the shared payment of costs. All in favor? Yes. Okay, correspondence. Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing introducing the Protect Ontario by Building Faster and Smarter Act, Bill 17. Discussion.
There are some concerns here. It sounds like the province is trying to take the planning jurisdiction from us and simplify it, I guess, but it's not considering our strategic plan and how we want to see our town. I really struggle with supporting this. Can we send a message to them? Like,
Yes,
if
there's a staff report from John Paul,
Yes.
and our planning consultants have offered to assist.
Is that who, these are our consultants? Awesome. So you feel the same way?
Like that land registry right now, they're looking for comments right now to put into it. Like my personal feeling, like, I just worry about things like, say, the flood limit. Like, if you're gonna allow 10% into setback, does that mean 10% into the 100-year flood limit? Like, that could be bad, because
So why do we have 10% now and we're gonna bend it?
no, like they're saying, like, in some of their things, like say a side yard setback right now, or water yard setbacks 30 meters. So if you take 10% off that, now you could build up to 27 meters. So instead of 100 feet, 90 feet, basically as a right. So if they said, I want to build 90 feet, they could come to the office and I can't ask them for a minor variance.
Exactly.
So-
So why do we have
Well,
the initial number
Well, that's the thing.
if we're gonna bend it?
And see, ours all went to public meetings and that's what the people wanted or planners wanted. And it was passed, but now they're saying, okay, we can give a 10% as of right variation. So that might not be something you support.
And you're right, John Paul, about the floodplain, especially on that south shore, because that water can vary.
I just wonder about that, because
Yeah.
now you have an opening of 197.25 is your 100-year flood limit.
Yeah.
Does that mean we go 10% below the 100-year flood limit? If somebody asks me to build something, can I say no?
That's right.
That's one of the questions.
It is a concern.
Where does the liability lie now when you do something like that? So yes, you do go 10% closer to the water, and 10% closer to the water isn't this far.
That's right.
It could be this far down a hill, but it could
Yeah.
take you right on to the
They
floodplain.
could.
So will we have jurisdiction over that, or will they say, well, no, they're good within that 10%?
No, the 10% is, I have to say, it's okay.
Yeah, see, I have to agree with Lisa. I'm really uncomfortable with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you're looking at people making decisions in abstention because they're in Queens Park.
Hmm.
Yep.
We do our minor variances here because we can see it.
Yes.
So we have intimate knowledge of that area. They don't. They have a book.
See, a lot of times too, like even say garage setbacks from the road, like we have an 8-meter setback. There's a reason for it, so we don't plow snow on people's cars, or it leaves enough room to space a car that's, what, 24 feet or more.
This is, I think, more designed, not with us in mind at all.
No,
This is designed for how much can we take 100 acres, somebody's farm, and how many houses can we plop on it and get away with it?
And can we get transit in there? And can we,
They don't care.
they
Can we
won't
cram
care
the
The
about.
builder
how-
doesn't care. Builder
This is-
says 28 feet or 26 feet or whatever somebody allows them. Cause I've already been through this down in Milton and through other places where when they re-surveyed everything, the sidewalk down the other side of the sidewalk was actually where the road's supposed to be. And it was like, now everything's gotta change, like everything's like where you put the water shut off, everything's gotta change, and it's like, now your road is really 4.5 feet from the house. Didn't work out well.
And John Paul and Dan, but they'll go visit a site too, especially on the water. So they have that visual, and then you say no, and this one says I can now, so,
I always visit every site.
yeah. Yeah,
And Dan.
and none of you were here, but I remember, well, 1979, when we drove boats in Bear Creek Road, right from the start of Bear Creek Road, right to the hill past Hunter's Bay, and you tied your boat off. And then for weeks that went on. And Sandy Bay Road, they drove the boats over top of docks and tied them right beside the cottage door off a tree. So that can happen.
And that was when they were flooding with Ferris.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Oh, it's flooding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember it.
yeah. So it
Well, they're
can happen.
talking about skipping over environmental
Yeah,
protection surveys, and now I understand, like, I've heard from some of our constituents that some of our building stuff might not be as streamlined as needed, but maybe that's a different topic. I don't believe that we should be giving the province any more jurisdiction over what we already do. You know, once you give up a right, they never give it back.
Our concern as staff is that 10% isn't the same for everyone.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it's different for every property, and it can be putting us into a liable position. So what we can do is we can reach out to MHBC to help us write a letter or comments to be submitted on behalf of council that we would bring to the June 10th meeting.
Yeah.
And from what we're hearing here is you would like to oppose the 10% variation.
mhm.
And let's make sure we get it all. And if there's anything else, we're
I'm
going to
con-
use our flood line as our example. I think that would be the best one.
For a large shallow lake with lots of flat areas on it. And,
It's just, all the topography is different everywhere.
well, that's the thing, like 10% can be devastating to a property.
Just some other little things I noticed too, is when they talked about pre-consultation, it almost seems now if a qualified person brings in all your information for a planning application, it's deemed as complete the day it's submitted. So if you get a professional come in and hand in your application, then it seems like it's now deemed complete, and now my clock's going to get noticed of and everything. The only problem with that is if the professional doesn't give you everything that you need, my clock still starts ticking. So an application might come to a meeting, you might not have all the information you need in order to make an informed decision. So that's something else that I noticed in the memo from our planners.
So, yeah, so
Yeah.
we'll probably have to revisit that at a meeting as well, probably.
as far as part of this,
Yeah.
Yeah, could be,
we'll
that
add
could be
that
another
to
little
it.
comment. to
Yeah.
put in
yeah,
there.
that's a good comment.
Wasn't there, I was reading some stuff about Bill C5 as well.
That's different,
That's
but
a different one?
yeah,
Yeah, that's the next one.
Oh,
but it's basically,
well, it's
What's
still in
happening?
planning
Yes,
and this, I forget what it was that I had read in it that I thought was disturbing. Anyway,
There's other changes that to it regarding the development charges act, but we don't have development charges, so I don't want to bring it up in the report. But
no,
they're trying to remove development charges. I mean, we don't have them, but
no,
this is my own comment, in
Yeah.
big cities,
Yeah.
they're gonna have to pay for this new, to bring in sewer,
Yeah,
junk lines,
that's
water, somebody's gonna have to pay for it.
And for seniors' homes, they're not charging development charges, so what if they bring in 1,000-room seniors building? And all of a sudden, like, our infrastructure will have to change, and they're not gonna be any development charges, that's gonna be on our constituents, that's on us.
well,
And that's just the province putting the law down.
we're kind of in a unique position where development charges, because we don't deliver infrastructure other than roads and landfill.
for now.
That's, and I get that for now, but our bylaws would have, and our planning would have to change with that time. But up until then, development charges, we don't need them, they don't apply to us, in my opinion.
But reading that, the province will tell you, us, that we have to accept that this building is coming in here and we're gonna have to figure it out. Now, are we gonna put 1,000-bedroom nursing home on a well?
No.
So then we will be left with building the infrastructure to do that.
You can go the other direction. They put 1,000-person complex here. We don't have enough schooling for that. Where are you gonna put the school? Who's gonna foot that bill?
Yeah, what if they
And that's,
decided the nursing home's
that
not
could
what we
end up
want?
on our plate.
Well, then there's the ICI thing too, like the recycling,
There's everything.
Everything.
So,
yeah.
yeah, but what we'll do is we'll ask MHBC to help us compose comments based on these things and some other things that John Paul has brought up.
Yeah.
We'll circulate that to council well ahead of the meeting as soon as it's ready, so that you can give us individually back your comments, so we're not doing this as a council meeting. And individually, we'll create a report and we'll come up with this. And we'll bring it back to council on June 10th, okay? And if you think of anything else you would like us to include between now and then, please just send us an email or call, stop in, whichever.
Oh, and Roma's going back to the table in the ICI with the problem.
Excellent.
I forgot to mention that, I missed it, it was only a one-liner.
Don't need that.
Good discussion. Item 2, municipality of Chatham, Kent, risk to your community and support requests. Support requested Bill 5. So I watched the documentary on this. Maybe some of you have too. W5 went to where this is all happening. And that ever happens, like you're in the nicest farmland, quaint town area, and you're gonna have to make a landfill at your back door. So I don't know who's ever driven, but probably all have. From Milton going to Woodstock, the garbage trucks. 100. Like
Every
it's just-
second truck on the 401
That's right,
is a garbage truck.
yeah, so.
I'll be down there. I'll
So
be down there Monday afternoon, going to London.
are we gonna put our support behind them?
Well, I don't know what kind of, they don't have a whole lot of,
They've taken it to AMO, Roma, and FCM,
so it's in the right
and
place.
those are the ones that they'll get all of the proper research done. And when they circulate their resolutions for support from us, that's usually when we provide our support to AMO or Roma as an organization. Generally speaking, that's what council has.
And that's on a county road that they're proposing this, eh?
Yeah, yeah,
That kind of traffic on a county road.
North Bay OPP Detachment Board 3 PNC Police Services Board meeting minutes held March 24th, 2025. We've all looked at that. And Steve reported on it. Watson and District Public Library Board meeting minutes held March 17th, 2025 and April 23rd, 2025. The Golden Sunshine Municipal Nonprofit Housing Corporation minutes of the board meeting of directors, meeting held on May 20th, 2025. The Township of Nipissing Board of Management meeting minutes held May 7th, 2025. Township of Nipissing Recreation Committee meeting minutes held May 12th, 2025. Good. So I need a mover and a seconder. Let's start searching. Let's go for it. That we received the correspondence report as presented, all in favor? Need a mover and seconder. Clerk. Okay. Statement of accounts dated May 10th, 13th, 15th, 21st, and 22nd, 2025, totaling $77,360.07 be approved. All in favor?
Session. I have those, and the municipal abatement to stay for this closed session.
I need a mover and a seconder. Mr. Scott. Mr. Foot. That this part of our meeting will be closed to the public as authorized by section 239 2K of the Municipal Act 2001 C-25 for consideration of the following subject matter: a position, plan, procedure, criteria or instruction of the applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on behalf of the municipality. Council to receive an update on an ongoing insurance matter.
Insurance claim, yeah.
Yep. All in favor?
Thank you for going back in.
I'm gonna start recording.